What's up, everybody? Welcome to Daily Betslip, Friday, October 21st. Busy time of the year. We got NBA regular season in full swing, college football week 8, NFL week 7. We got the championship series in Major League Baseball, Padres and Phillies. Game 3 tonight, our game of the night. I don't think we're going to talk about Yankees, Astros, or the Yankees are in a 2-0 hole. They play over the weekend, so a lot to get to. We just had our sports equinox last night. I'm Reed Wallach. I'm your host for today, joined by Donnavan Smoot. Donovan, what did you have on the TV last night during the sports equinox? Was it some Thursday night football, some NBA?
No,
Well, I had college football on. What did you have on?
I've been locked in on the NBA
Okay.
all week, and I was there. Listen, I probably have not paid attention to Thursday night football in the last like 3 weeks. So
Mm-hmm.
I was following on Twitter, but yeah, I had Bucks Sixers on. That bet hit, had the Bucks money line in that one,
Very
and
nice.
then had Clippers Lakers on afterwards. Clippers -5 cashed at the very end because Pat Bev fouled Robert Covington with 2 seconds left. They gave him a loose ball foul. He goes down, knocks 2 free throws. Clippers win by 6. So sweated that one out. Won that. Very, very happy. So I'm locked in on the NBA for probably like the next 2 weeks. And I'll probably start diversifying my portfolio again.
All right. So, I know we got a few NBA best bets to get to from yours truly. I will be giving out my Saturday little like schedule for you. I think last week, another 4-0 uh, Friday
You're
bet
rolling.
slip.
You're rolling.
Yeah, this is really humming here. So we got 4 more bets there with the different time slots. Donovan, like I said, he's got 2 NBA best bets and a Sunday NFL play. We got a lot to get to. Let's get first. We had one Twitter pick, a real gem pick we wanted to get to. Friend of the program, Trent Krim at Trim Kent said Princeton -2.5 in the cauldron known as Harvard Stadium. Trent looking at some FCS football tonight. I am up for some real degen stuff, but this is a little bit out of my range. I did do some digging around for him though. Princeton ranked 14th in Bill Connolly's SP plus FCS rankings. Harvard 35th, so could see why they're favored. Princeton's offense likely at least rated as the best unit on the field. It's top 10 offense in the FCS ranks, but their defense is worse than Harvard's 79th. Harvard also known for their offense, so 29th in offensive rating, 55th in defense. So looks like a coin flip to me. I don't know. Sure, take Princeton. Go Jersey. I'll take Princeton going on the road and getting a win. Any thoughts here, Donovan?
I'm gonna take your word. I'm gonna take your word. Listen, Trim Kent. I hope the best for you. I have nothing to say on Princeton Harvard tonight. No
On a
thoughts.
Friday night, you got to find something else to do. We were just talking about how many sports are going on right now, and
Exactly.
poor Trent going to be grinding out Princeton Harvard on the gridiron. I love it. I love it. So we got our best bets now. Like I said, we're going to do my college football plays coming up in a few seconds, honestly. But Donovan, you have 2 NBA plays, so hit me with it. You said you've been locked in so far. How's
Yeah.
the early betting takeaways? Any trends you're noticing? I know it's only been, one full NBA slate and then 2, Tuesday, Thursdays, 2 gamers. So any early takeaways, or you still think you need a little bit more of a sample size?
I still need a little bit more of a sample size to get some betting trends. In terms of early thoughts, the Lakers suck and they can't shoot. So I'm thinking either just fading the Lakers on the spread, basically almost every game, or taking the under in their games because they
Mm-hmm.
just can't shoot. But outside of that, that's pretty much it. We still like getting into it. Some teams have only played 2 games or not or so. So we have a big slate tonight, though. There's 11 games on
Yep.
tonight, so we're gonna get right to it. And one of my favorite
Let's hear it.
plays, yeah, one of my favorite plays tonight. I'm taking the Pelicans -6 against the Hornets, and you saw up close and personal just how lethal the Pelicans are this season. You have Zion, listen, when Zion's healthy, he's one of the best players in the league.
Yeah.
Brandon Ingram looked fantastic. They just have so many guys because outside of those two, Jonas Valanciunas is back, CJ McCollum is back. Uh,
Trey
what's his
Murphy. Trey Murphy was balling
Exactly.
last night on
There
Wednesday night.
there's so many guys that they have. Herb Jones is an all defense
Yep.
candidate. So many guys on New Orleans, and then you go to Charlotte, and listen. They played San Antonio. Those are 2 teams that are expected to be in the Victor sweepstakes. They're going to be at the bottom of the league, and so while it was nice to see them put up a fight without their 2 leading scorers from last year, Miles Bridges and LaMelo. I don't expect them to keep that kind of pace up. I think New Orleans has the offensive talent and the defensive talent to kind of stifle them tonight. So I got the line at -6. It's now at 6.5. I would play it up to 7, but I like the Pelicans tonight. And then my second one, underdog pick tonight, last game on the slate. I'm taking the Blazers money line against the Suns.
Okay.
We saw the Suns on I guess on Wednesday against the Mavericks. Completely down and out. I'm gonna give them credit for coming back. However, they needed a Damian Lee game-winning shot to beat the Mavericks. That was a travel. That was an uncalled travel, and nobody said anything. But they look all types of out of sorts right now. Chris Paul ended up getting benched. He didn't look good in the beginning part of that game. DeAndre Ayton, while he had a decent game, now he's going to play Nurkic, who's in the middle. He actually has a legitimate big man who's going to play down low, who's going to test him. And listen, Maxi Kleber and Christian Wood, while they were good, and Christian Wood played really well, they're not defensive guys in the way that Nurkic can be. So I think Ayton's going to get tested a little bit more. They played well. They shot fairly well with Campaign making a lot of big plays. Again, Damian Lee making a lot of big plays. I don't think that's going to happen in Portland, who's going up and down with Sacramento all night long. Their offensive firepower looks really, really good. Dame didn't even have the best night, but they look very, very cohesive, and they have a lot of talent. Josh Hart was hooping. Jeremy Grant looked really good. So I think that this one is going to be close, and I think that Portland is going to be able to pull this one out.
Yeah, I don't hate the look. On the Pelicans, obviously I'm a Nets fan, so I'll spin it to the Nets. But I will say the Nets got smoked. I'm not defending the Nets by any means, but I wonder tonight the Nets play the Raptors. If the Nets look better in that game, and let's say the Nets do win, does it kind of turn to, wow, the Pelicans might actually just be really good? I think
it's already there.
The Pelicans might be legit. Just you see on the floor, because you could project out how a team's going to look, the rotations, the this, to that, but then you see it on the floor. It's like the Lakers you were talking about earlier. You see it you see how bad the roster looks, and you're like, they're probably going to be like maybe not so great, maybe not a contender. And then you see it on the floor, and you're like, it's the opposite for the Pelicans. You see Brandon Ingram's growing into his own. You see what's coming along. So I agree with you. I think that, the Pelicans are kind of, on an upward trajectory, where the Hornets may be a little bit of a smoke and mirrors type win there against the Spurs, who are probably in the Victor Wembanyama case. So I like that Pelicans look as road favorites. So let's transition now. College football. 4-0 last week.
Colorado hitting
overtime. Calling my shot a 5-1 money line underdog. I have nothing. I have one really, really gross one. Two really gross ones.
Okay.
They come up a little bit later, but let's start. Noon slate, SMU Cincy over 60.5. There's a lot of wind projected in the Texas forecast. We saw Baylor's total get hit, Texas Tech's total get hit, TCU's total get hit, this SMU total got hit. Now there's some buyback. I'm not going to try and be a weatherman and tell you the wind is going to be this or that. I just like this over. I bet it early in the week, and it's still available, so we'll bet it. SMU is second in plays per minute this season. They are a pass-heavy offense. I really don't know if the Cincy offense has been tested all that much. Cincy defense, rather, has been tested in the passing game that much. Tulsa, the best passing attack they probably played. Quarterback got hurt, Davis Brin, so haven't really been tested there. Arkansas, an SEC passing game, they put up 31 points on them. I think SMU is going to be able to get what they want at home. And on the other side, I think Cincy's going to be able to get it through the air or on the ground. SMU, 85th in EPA per play on defense, terrible against the run. So I think Cincy is going to get whatever they want. It's going to be a track meet. So I'll take the over 60.5. Who cares about the wind? Now, next one, big game. We spoke about this on the early read, but UCLA +6 against Oregon. I think this is the last team with the ball is going to win this game. I don't think there's going to be many stops. I think each team is cracking 30, probably 40 at this point. I'll take Dorian Thompson-Robinson, though, and the Bruins off a bye. I think they're going to be prepared with Chip Kelly. Very similar teams here. Each are top 5 in success rate. They're both outside the top 90 in success rate on defense. I just think this is more of a coin flip, honestly, just with the way these offenses could go. So I'll take UCLA catching 6. I think that this line should be closer to 3, in my opinion. Now we're getting gross, though. 6 o'clock on Fox, 6:30 maybe, on Fox Sports 2. We're taking the Lobos +10.5 at home against Fresno State. Oh, yeah. New Mexico is one of the worst teams in the FBS, but we like them, though. Their defense is pretty solid, though. Fresno's defense, I don't really know. I mean, just a few weeks ago with their backup quarterback, who is still now starting for the injured Jake Haener, they lost outright to Connecticut as like 23-point favorites. I know they won last week against San Jose State, but they were 7-point dogs in that one. Now they're going to be favored by over 10 in this one. No, thank you. New Mexico, one of the highest rush rates in college football. They're going to try and take the air out of the ball. Exactly what you're looking for in an underdog at home. Fresno, they play a better San Diego State team next week, so maybe catch them looking ahead a little bit. Fresno's total points with Logan Fife at quarterback, 14, 20, and 17. That is not a recipe to cover double digits on the road. This New Mexico team is 15th in EPA per play on defense. So, again, that's New Mexico plus 10.5 against Fresno. That should be widely available. And my last one, this is also from the early read. You could check these out on Tuesdays, but Cal plus 7.5 against Washington. We just bet against this Cal team as a double-digit road favorite at Colorado. I said it, Donovan. You were there. You heard it. I was talking to you.
Yep.
I said, you do not want to back Justin Wilcox teams as favorites. You want to back them as underdogs. Here are the numbers for Justin Wilcox as an underdog. 22-9-1 against the spread as a dog. When he's an underdog of a touchdown or more, 16-3 against the number. That is ridiculous. 16-3 of a touchdown or more. This Washington secondary is terrible. I think Cal is going to have a chance to win this game also late at night. It's 10:30 start in Berkeley. So I like Cal catching 7.5 against Washington. Washington's 2 road games, let up 40-plus to UCLA, let up 40-plus to Arizona State, who sucks with a backup quarterback. So, there are my bets. So before we recap all of that, let's get to Sunday. Let's talk some NFL real quick. Donovan, what are you looking at on the Sunday slate? Your one best bet for the Daily Betslip crowd.
Yeah, I'm taking the Falcons plus 6.5 against the Bengals. I don't trust Cincinnati in this spot yet. 4 of their 6 games have been decided by 4 points or less, and they are 2-2 in those. Actually, no, they're 1-3 in those games. Excuse me. And last week they needed a 60-yard Jamar Chase touchdown that really wasn't a great throw, and it was bad tackling on New Orleans' part that gave them that ended up losing the game for them. Meanwhile, Atlanta knows how to run the ball, and they can control the game. Marcus Mariota is only completing like 13, 14 passes a game, but his ability to run, extend plays, keep drives moving, that's really, really big. And so I think that Cincinnati, while they still are like getting into their offensive rhythm, Atlanta's 6-0 against the spread. And I think anything close to a touchdown, 6.5 to 7, that is right where you want them to be. I think they're still being a little bit undervalued right now. So I'll take Atlanta to cover and go 7-0 against the spread this season.
Okay.
Yeah. You're not with it. You don't sound like it.
I kind of like Cincinnati on Sunday.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to bet it. I just think that this team you're starting to see the team trend upwards on offense, and that's my biggest concern. The Falcons secondary.
My big concern is that they can't run the ball. Cincinnati, they can't run the ball, and they still are averaging less than 3 yards, not 3 yards. They're averaging 3.5 yards per carry, which is 29th in the league. And so you are not, if Atlanta is going to be able to go and run the ball on their side and they can play ball control, Cincinnati still cannot do that, and they're still going to base their offense around these big plays. And so I'm not sure that they're going to be able to do that consistently to blow this game wide open.
That's fair. I'll give you, I guess, against the spread, maybe Atlanta's live, keep this close, keep it within 1 score, especially late with the backdoor. Yeah, I think Cincy's like an attractive teaser leg, though. I like get Cincy to just win the game. I think Cincy, I guess my point is I think Cincy's stock is starting to rise a little bit, where you're going to start to see them like get back in that AFC contender conversation.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not going to fault you. I'm not going to stop you from taking, a dog plus 6.5, especially with the way scoring's been down across the league. Underdogs covering at a much higher clip, so I don't hate the look. But let's bring that recap graphic up, and then we'll talk some more NFL, some hot takes. So for me, my Saturday kind of we need a name for that. But my Saturday slate is over 60.5 in Cincinnati SMU, UCLA plus 6 against Oregon, New Mexico plus 10.5 against Fresno State, and Cal plus 7.5 against Washington. Donovan, he has 2 NBA plays for tonight. That is the Pelicans minus 6 against the Hornets, the Blazers plus 176 against the Suns, And then for Sunday, he's taking the Falcons catching 6.5 against the Cincinnati Bengals. And there are our best bets. Now, let's talk some hot takes. I didn't have written down what we said last week. I could go back and look. Do you remember?
I can't remember either. Let me go back. I have the doc right here. I have the doc from last week. So you said that Bailey Zappi is equal to or greater than Mac Jones.
Okay, that's kind of right. They smoked the Browns.
Yeah, and I said that the Eagles and the Cowboys winner is going to go to the Super Bowl. And I think people were kind of on that train for the Eagles. And then San Francisco goes and trades for Christian McCaffrey last night, and now kind of changes the dynamic of what the NFC looks like with them, Tampa Bay and Philadelphia. However, Philadelphia still is the clear favorite to make it out of the NFC. They're plus 222 in the NFC. So I guess the odds makers are kind of agreeing. So I like that.
Yeah, I'll give you credit. I will call you right there. And then I see Robert Stone chimed in with he likes the Pacers tonight. Robert, we'll talk some more hoop. Just let's get through this segment. We're gonna talk some NFL hot takes, and then we will get back. We'll hit some quick NBA before we get out of here. But I'll start with my hot take. So the Raiders come off a bye. They get the Texans. They're 1-4 on the year. It looks like the sky is falling, but I actually think the Raiders are kind of a play on team, a bye team, in my opinion. So I guess my hot take is the Raiders are going to come out of this game against the Texans. I think they're going to win convincingly, and they're going to be a team that is going to start trending towards that last wild card spot. I'm not going to say that they're going to run down the Chiefs in the division or anything, but I think Vegas is going to be in this wild card mix going forward. You kind of look at their season so far, a lot of blown opportunities. It's a new coach, Josh McDaniels, maybe coming out of the bye. This could be a reset. Darren Waller can maybe get a little bit healthier. Renfro's been in and out of the lineup. Maybe this team could start to get a little going, but they were competitive with the Chargers early in the season. They blew that game to the Cardinals. They lost to the Titans. Wasn't necessarily the best performance, but they had a 2-point conversion to force overtime they missed. And then, of course, that Chiefs game on Monday night, they lose a heartbreaker, a game that, I know they lost, but I think you need to give them a boost almost. You need to upgrade them in the power rankings because they played really well in that game. They, played well enough to beat maybe the second best team in the AFC. So this is a 1-4 team, I think, trending up. Look at their schedule going forward now. They got the Texans. Then they play the Saints. Who knows what they're going to look like heading into next week. In Jacksonville, the Colts, the Broncos. Who knows what they're going to be like by then. Seattle, and then the Chargers at home. So that next 7, all teams in that wild card mix, below the wild card mix, they could play themselves back into it. You get a 5-2 stretch there. All of a sudden, the Raiders are back in that wild card mix at 500 heading into the last stretch of the season. So my hot take is that the Raiders look good coming out of the bye, and they are a potential wild card threat at 2-4. Seems far off, but don't think it's that crazy with their upcoming schedule. Donovan, thoughts there?
On paper, it makes sense.
Okay.
However, I'm a very, very big advocate in you are who you are. Okay. And the Raiders are they just find ways to just be idiotic in the way that they lose games. They dominated that game against Arizona, and they let Kyler Murray play Madden for the last 6 minutes in overtime, and then Hunter Renfrow decides to fumble the ball twice in overtime, and they get the score. Then they go on the road to Tennessee, who is a complete mess, and end up losing to Tennessee. And then with the lead in Kansas City and even trailing, have a chance to go take the lead on the last drive. And Hunter Renfrow and Devontae Adams run into each other on the last play of the game. And it's just over and over and over again, they find ways to lose. So I can 100% see them that 5-2 stretch that you're talking about. It can happen, but what happens on when New Orleans comes into town and all of a sudden Michael Thomas is back and they end up losing 21-19 on a field goal. This is the record-wise, this is the worst team in the AFC, and you're asking a lot of them to turn around. So I see the case on paper. I just don't trust it because it's the Raiders, if that makes sense.
Very fair. What is your hot take? I think yours is a little bit more nuanced than mine.
Yeah, Carson Wentz has lost his job.
Yeah.
And this is the third time that I've talked about somebody losing their job. But I think that we're kind of
like the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, I think we're kind of done seeing Carson Wentz at quarterback. Ron Rivera, which was crazy for a head coach to say in a press conference when they asked him what was wrong with what's the difference between the Commanders and the rest of the prosperous NFC East teams, and he says quarterback. Ron Rivera clearly doesn't want him to be the starting quarterback. And I think that Taylor Heineke, while the ceiling isn't as high, the floor is not as low. And if you have playmakers like a Terry McLaurin, like a Brian Robinson who's coming along, if you have guys like that, you just want to be, you don't want to be able to fall through the ground. You want to be able to be like within the score at the end of the game, and maybe you make the play, maybe you don't. But I think Heineke is going to provide a little bit of stability for this team, and moving forward, they're going to be in positions to win a lot more games. And this is now two straight places where we've seen Carson Wentz, and we're approaching the midway through the season, where we start to look around and say, why did we give up draft capital to make this guy our quarterback? We made a mistake, and probably the guy sitting behind him is a better option. So Taylor Heineke, he's been in the system. He's won some games with them. Listen, 2 years ago, he had them on the verge of beating the Bucks in the first round of the
They were in that
playoffs.
game.
I think Taylor Heineke is just the safer option. And for Ron Rivera, who's probably coaching for his job at this point,
Yep.
you can't go with the most volatile player in the NFL. You need some type of stability on that offense. And Taylor Heineke is going to provide that for him. So I think Carson Wentz, I think we've seen the end of him in Washington.
Yeah, I think so. And I kind of think the Commanders are a little live on Sunday against the Packers.
I think so as well. I think so as well.
I think Washington's roster is not the worst in the league or anything like that. So, like the Bears roster, for example, is much worse. The Texans roster even is much worse, in my opinion. I think like Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson with like a competent quarterback, they can make some plays. So I don't hate the look. And I think with a win, that cements Carson Wentz on the bench. So I don't hate the look. But let's get back to the comments real quick. Let's talk some NBA. Not much to get from us there. Robert Stone said he likes the Pacers -1.5 against the Spurs. I agree. I know the Pacers are in this like tankathon youth movement also, but I think the Spurs are going to really try and outclass the competition and really try to make a statement that we are the worst team this year. We are really, really, really not interested in winning. Pacers got some bodies. I know they Miles Turner got hurt, like rolling his ankle on a ball boy or something like that, or stepping on a ball boy. That's embarrassing, but Benedict Mathurin was my pick for Rookie of the Year. Might not be able to run down Paolo Banchero, but I like Mathurin a ton, and Tyrese Halliburton. I just think -1.5 at home. You're telling me that the Spurs are maybe slightly better than the Pacers? I don't see it. I think Pacers can win this one by a bucket at home. Any thoughts here, Donovan?
Yeah, listen, Tyrese Halliburton looked great in that first game, and like you said, Mathurin, they were down by a lot, and he kind of single-handedly brought them back. He made a lot of clutch threes, had a very clutch and one towards the end of the game to put them in a position where they could probably come back and win that game. So I'm with you. I think San Antonio, like Keldon Johnson's nice. Devin Vassell, he's cool, but I think that the talent for Indiana is just a little bit better than San Antonio. So I like this as well.
And then Backstage Tattoo talking some Phillies in the comments. We are actually going to start talking about that game now. So let's set the stage for our marquee matchup of the night, our game of the night. Padres in Philly for game 3. The Padres rally in game 2 to even the series. Looked grim there for a second for the Padres. Series tied at 1-1. Got Joe Musgrove on the mound against Ranger Suarez. Padres -120 road favorite, total of 7.5, -120 to the under, over -102 at FanDuel. I'm looking at it right now. So got an even series here, 1-1. Of course, Philly takes home field advantage. This has been my thought process the entire series. I think that these are two very, very equal teams. I don't see much difference. It was, to me, take the underdog in every single game. That was it. Game 1, it hit. Game 2, it hit. Game 3, you're now getting the Phillies as home underdogs. I agree with Backstage Tattoo, who likes the Phillies. He wants to take them to win the series at -105, so slight underdogs there. I think that there's no difference. Why is one team favored? I think it should be -110 each way. I think it's an absolute coin flip. Musgrove looked good so far this postseason, but you look at San Diego, 18th in OPS against lefties this season. Of course, Suarez is a left-handed pitcher. This Phillies offense, to me, is still humming. I think that at home, a hitter-friendly park, they're going to be able to get to Musgrove and knock him around. I kind of sneaky trust Phillies bullpen a little bit more than San Diego. So I am on the underdog Philly. And guess what? Game 4, if there's going to be if San Diego's going to be an underdog, I'm flipping right back the other way. So give me Philly. A small underdogs. Me and Backstage Tattoo are on the same page here. Donovan, are we together or no?
Honest, not really, because
Okay.
I'm taking the under. I'm taking the under tonight, and it's because I actually think that Joe Musgrove is gonna be decent tonight. He's had 2 starts in these playoffs. He's only allowed 2 runs in that stretch. He's combined for 13 strikeouts in those 2 starts. So I think that he's going to be able to push the Phillies around a little bit. I know that it is a hitter friendly park, but Musgrove he's gone fairly deep. He went 6 innings in the start against the Dodgers, went 7 innings in the start against the Mets. So if he can stay out there long enough, I think that he's going to push the under a lot. And Suarez, and listen, I think that honestly Suarez gives up a home run tonight. I forgot who I have Trent Grisham as my daily dinger for the day. So I do think that Suarez I do think that Suarez gives up a dinger, so that might scare me a little bit with the under. But overall, I think both of these pitchers are playing pretty well. So the line's too close for me right now. I would, like you said, they're very, very even. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna look towards the total, and I'll be gross and root for no runs.
Yeah, I just don't see much difference between these 2 teams. 2 very talented teams, 2 pitching staffs that are humming right now. I mean, just some more stuff from Backstage Chat too. I'll flash these comments across, but Phillies hit 13 home runs in their past 14 home games. I mean, the story of this postseason has been not can you string together hits, can you cash in with the big ball, with the long ball? Can you get a runner or 2 on base, then go deep? And I think Phillies power is going to be the difference in this one. I think that they're going to be able to get this, get a ball over the fence or 2. So I'm on Philly. Donovan's on the under. The community with a little bit more of a conservative approach. They took the Phillies on the run line plus 1.5. I will pull up my app as I'm talking and tell you what the odds are on that. Minus 166, so a little steep, but listen, I mean, these games are going down to the wire. I mean, we saw last night the Yankees kept it within 1 run. They cashed as juiced plus 1.5 underdogs. So not a bad look there. Big shout out to Robert Stone and Backstage Tattoo. Get in the comments, sharing some knowledge, sharing some bets out. We're doing that all the time. But there is our show. If you want to go back and see our best bets for the weekend, go ahead and do so. But big shout out to Joanne Woodcock, our producer behind the scenes. We got plenty of more content for you this weekend. We got the Sunday Stack in the Box show, Matt Berteram and Ian McMillan going through every single NFL game. That is Sunday afternoon on this fine BetSided YouTube channel. So while you're here, make sure you like and subscribe to that. I will be back on Tuesdays with the early read week 9 edition of college football. You go see the week 8 picks. Just go check the YouTube page out. But until then, everybody have a profitable weekend and enjoy all the sports in the entire world.